Tim Allen. He's a man's man, but lately he's realizing
What happened to men?
he's not in a man's world anymore.
That ABC, it basically says they can't afford the cost of the cast.
4 years, Last Man Standing was the show that brought families together every Friday night. The laughs, the characters, the heartwarming stories, it all felt like home. But then, everything started to change. One by one, key members of the main cast began leaving. The replacements didn't feel the same, and suddenly, loyal viewers were left wondering, why did their favorite characters disappear? Was it due to creative differences, career shifts, or something deeper? The truth behind the show's evolution is more surprising than most people expected. It all began with Tim Allen's big return to television in 2011. After stepping away from TV for several years, Allen made a bold comeback with Last Man Standing. It wasn't an easy decision. He had previously turned down major offers, including one from CBS that would have paid him $1 million per episode. But this show was different. Creator Jack Burdett envisioned Mike Baxter as a character who was older and wiser, a sort of evolved version of Tim, the Toolman Taylor. Initially, Allen wasn't convinced. He thought the role was too similar to his old one and said no 3 times. What changed his mind was the creative freedom the role offered. Along with starring, he'd also be an executive producer with control over the show's direction, a critical factor, especially as the show leaned into political themes. ABC had high hopes for Last Man Standing. They envisioned it as a modern-day All in the Family, with a conservative main character challenged by his progressive family. Slotted for the tough Friday night time slot, the network banked on Allen's popularity to draw viewers, and it worked. When the show premiered in October 2011, it attracted 13.2 million viewers, making it ABC's biggest comedy debut since 2014. Even in its first season, it dominated the ratings and became especially popular among viewers aged 18 to 49, a rare feat for a Friday night show. For 6 seasons, the show maintained strong viewership, averaging over 8 million viewers per episode. That's why fans were stunned when ABC abruptly canceled it in 2017. The first major cast shakeup happened early. In Season 1, Alexandra Krosny played Kristen Baxter, the eldest daughter of Mike Baxter. Kristen was a young single mother raising her son, Boyd, while living with her parents and working as a waitress. Viewers loved how Krosny portrayed Kristen, with sass, heart, and relatability. Her chemistry with Tim Allen was electric, and her performance added emotional depth to the show. However, after the first season, ABC announced that Krosny would not return. The official explanation was creative differences, but behind the scenes, the reasons were more complex. Producers decided to shift Kristen's character arc rather than continuing with her as a struggling young mom. They wanted her to appear older and more mature, someone who could better challenge Mike on political and social issues. To achieve that, they recast Kristen with Amanda Fuller. Another factor was appearance. Despite playing the eldest sister, Krosny was actually younger than Molly Ephraim, who played Mandy, the middle child. The producers felt that this disrupted the family dynamic. Amanda Fuller, who was older than both actresses, fit the role better from their perspective. Around that same time, Nick Jonas made a surprise guest appearance as Ryan Vogelson, Kristen's ex-boyfriend and Boyd's father, in a Christmas episode. At just 19 years old, Jonas played an immature teen who had abandoned his responsibilities. His version of Ryan was shallow and somewhat comical, but it did grab attention. In Season 2, showrunner Tim Doyle stepped in and reimagined the character of Ryan. Rather than a deadbeat dad, he wanted Ryan to evolve into a more intelligent and layered character who could challenge Mike's conservative beliefs. This meant a recast. In 2012, Jordan Masterson took over the role. Known for his work on Greek, Masterson brought a smarter, more mature version of Ryan to life. No longer just a scared teen, Ryan became an outspoken liberal with strong opinions. Over time, his character grew into a socially conscious business owner, running a legal cannabis store called Best Buds. Ironically, his success turned him into a capitalist, something that Mike found endlessly amusing. Then came the biggest shock of all. In May 2017, despite its success, ABC announced the cancellation of Last Man Standing. This wasn't just any show, it was one of the network's top performers, especially for a Friday slot. Fans were blindsided. The timing raised eyebrows, especially since just 2 months earlier, Tim Allen had stirred controversy on Jimmy Kimmel Live, joking that being a conservative in Hollywood felt like living in 1930s Germany. Many began to wonder if Allen's political leanings had influenced ABC's decision. However, ABC President Channing Dungey insisted the cancellation had nothing to do with politics. 4 years, Last Man Standing was the show that brought families together every Friday night. With its lovable characters, hilarious moments, and relatable family dynamics, it felt like home. But everything changed as one by one, the main cast members began leaving. Their replacements didn't quite click with audiences, leaving viewers to wonder why their favorite characters had disappeared. Was it creative differences, career changes, or something deeper? The true story is more surprising than most fans expected. After years away from TV, Tim Allen made a strong return in 2011 with Last Man Standing. He had already turned down major offers, including a $1 million per episode deal from CBS, but this show felt different. Creator Jack Burdett envisioned the character Mike Baxter as an older, wiser version of Tim, the Toolman Taylor. Initially, Allen rejected the role 3 times, thinking it was too similar to his past work. What finally convinced him was a deal that gave him executive producer status and creative control, freedom that would later allow the show to explore political themes. ABC had big plans. They wanted Last Man Standing to be a modern version of All in the Family, featuring a conservative main character whose views would be challenged by his family. Despite its tough Friday night time slot, the show premiered to 13.2 million viewers, becoming ABC's biggest comedy debut since 2014 and consistently performing well among viewers aged 18 to 49. Over 6 seasons, the show maintained strong ratings, averaging over 8 million viewers per episode. That's why it shocked fans when ABC canceled it in 2017. One of the earliest major cast changes came after Season 1, when Alexandra Krosny, who played Kristen Baxter, was let go. Kristen was portrayed as a young single mom, and viewers loved Krosny's relatable and heartfelt performance. Officially, the change was due to creative differences, but producers wanted an older, more seasoned version of Kristen to better challenge Mike on social issues. Amanda Fuller replaced Krosny in Season 2. Age differences between the actresses also played a role. Krosny was actually younger than Molly Ephraim, who played her younger sister, Mandy. Nick Jonas also made a brief but buzzworthy appearance in Season 1 as Ryan Vogelson, Kristen's ex and the father of her child. His portrayal was shallow. Ryan was a deadbeat dad with no real depth. When Tim Doyle took over as showrunner in Season 2, he wanted Ryan to be more than a comedic throwaway. He recast the role with Jordan Masterson, who transformed Ryan into a thoughtful, politically liberal foil to Mike Baxter. This dynamic added depth and complexity to the show. Over time, Ryan evolved, eventually becoming a small business owner, a cannabis entrepreneur, no less, ironically mirroring the capitalist ideals he once criticized. Despite the show's continued success, ABC unexpectedly canceled it in May 2017. Tim Allen's appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he joked about being a conservative in Hollywood feeling like 1930s Germany, sparked controversy. ABC President Channing Dungey denied any political motivations, claiming the network wanted to move away from Friday night comedies and focus more on fantasy and sci-fi shows. But for the fans, and even the cast, the cancellation felt personal. Tim Allen tweeted he was stunned and blindsided, while Nancy Travis, Vanessa, and Hector Elizondo, Ed, expressed heartbreak and hinted that politics might have been involved. Younger cast members like Molly Ephraim, Mandy, and Caitlin Dever, Eve, quickly moved on, assuming the show was over for good. But fans weren't ready to say goodbye. A massive online campaign emerged overnight, with over 400,000 petition signatures and a flood of #SaveLastManStanding tweets. Supporters sent toy tools to ABC and even purchased billboards in Los Angeles and New York. Politicians like Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker weighed in, suggesting political bias might have been involved. Behind the scenes, the cancellation came down to more than politics. Each episode cost ABC $3 million since it was produced by 20th Century Fox, and Tim Allen's $200,000 plus salary added to the burden. Eventually, Fox decided to revive the show themselves, seeing an opportunity after ABC's Roseanne revival had garnered massive ratings. On May 11, 2018, Fox officially announced the return of Last Man Standing, spending $50 million to bring it back. The revival wasn't easy. Fox had just a few months to relaunch the show before its September 2018 premiere. The writing team started in June and filmed at a breakneck pace, 3 episodes per week. The original set had to be rebuilt, and production was later slowed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The revival cost more than before, with each episode priced at $1.1 million. Tim Allen's salary also increased to $235,000 per episode, making him one of the highest-paid actors on TV. To offset costs, Fox sold streaming rights to Hulu and CMT for $1.5 million per episode, and the team found ways to cut production expenses. Despite the challenges, the revived show premiered to 8 million viewers, proving there was still a loyal fan base. However, casting was a major hurdle. When ABC initially canceled the show, Molly Ephraim assumed it was the end and took roles in other projects, including Brockmire and Halt and Catch Fire. She couldn't return when Fox revived the show. The producers chose not to find a lookalike, but instead cast Molly McCook as the new Mandy. Though she looked nothing like Ephraim, the show embraced the change and even joked about it. Fans were initially upset, launching the #NotMyMandy hashtag, but McCook eventually won them over with her unique take on a character, which focused on fashion dreams, pregnancy struggles, and emotional moments with her father Mike. Kaitlyn Dever also moved on after the show's first cancellation, landing a breakout role in Kathryn Bigelow's Detroit. Her career quickly took off, with standout performances in Booksmart and the Netflix miniseries Unbelievable. These roles earned her Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations. As her film schedule grew more demanding, she transitioned from a series regular to a recurring guest star. In Season 7, she appeared in 7 episodes, but that number dropped in Season 8 due to scheduling conflicts and COVID-19 restrictions. The show creatively handled her limited availability by sending Eve Baxter to the Air Force Academy and using video calls to keep her connected to the Baxter family. Despite appearing in only 3 episodes in the final season, her character's rare returns added emotional weight to the series' closing chapters. One standout episode titled The Two Nieces of Eve was crafted specifically to accommodate Kaitlyn Dever's limited availability. The episode centered entirely on Eve's relationship with her nieces, tying up several long-running storylines and offering fans a heartfelt moment with her character. Despite her demanding schedule, Dever managed to juggle numerous high-profile projects between 2017 and 2021, including starring roles in Dopesick alongside Michael Keaton, Dear Evan Hansen, and being cast as Abby in HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. Her schedule was so packed that Last Man Standing had to scrap plans for 2 of her episodes in Season 8. Still, Dever remained loyal to the show that helped launch her career. In May 2020, Fox announced that Last Man Standing would end with its 9th season, even though it remained very popular, averaging 8.3 million viewers per episode and ranking as Fox's second highest-rated comedy. Fans were surprised by the announcement, especially since producer Kevin Abbott revealed that the team had already started planning for a 10th season. One idea was to have Amanda Fuller's character, Kristen, take over the family business, Outdoor Man, and rename it Outdoor Woman, a storyline that would have explored generational change. The writers also wanted to bring back fan-favorite guest stars like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Richard Karn to expand on their earlier appearances, adding depth and excitement for longtime fans. As the final season approached, Fox executives pushed for a major event to make the conclusion memorable. Initially, Abbott was hesitant, believing the show's strength came from its small, family-focused stories. But when writer John Hauer proposed bringing back Tim, the Toolman Taylor from Home Improvement, the idea reignited the writers' enthusiasm. Over the years, there had been multiple discussions about crossovers, including a shared universe with the Taylor family, a Tool Time reunion special, and even a storyline where Mike Baxter discovers he's distantly related to Tim Taylor. There were also plans for a Christmas episode uniting cast members from both series. However, legal hurdles and scheduling conflicts had always stood in the way. Finally, they decided to bring Tim Taylor into the show, but it wasn't easy. Since Disney owned the rights to Home Improvement, negotiations were tough and drawn out. The crossover wasn't officially approved until the day before the script read-through, and Abbott even threatened to proceed without Disney's permission to get things moving. Tim Allen, who played both Mike Baxter and Tim Taylor, insisted that Taylor be portrayed respectfully and given a solid reason for appearing in Colorado. The writing team revised the episode 3 times to satisfy all parties, including the original creators of Home Improvement. Allen went the extra mile by rewatching old episodes of Home Improvement to recapture Tim Taylor's mannerisms and ensure he and Mike Baxter felt like distinct characters. The episode featured subtle nods to the old show, references to Wilson, Tool Time, and even an update on Tim Taylor's LifePost series. This crossover became one of the most memorable and emotionally satisfying moments of Last Man Standing's final season, tying together two beloved shows in a way that thrilled fans and gave the series a powerful send-off.